you are missing thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars by having a CRM and just not using it properly. And I know this because I had to deal with CRMs day in and day out for almost 2 years as a high ticket salesperson for an info offer that was doing anywhere from 300 to 700,000 a month in cash collected. And I've collected $2 million on my own in calls and with my team. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how my company, Scale Fuse, sets up CRMs for you and your business to where your sales reps can actually milk every single penny from your leads without having to question if they're doing it properly. So if you take a look right here, the first thing we have to do is we have to properly categorize each lead. And you do this by having statuses. Now, just a quick disclaimer, everything I'm going to be showing you here is using closed CRM, but literally Go High Level, HubSpot, whatever you use is going to have similar functions. So when it comes to statuses, obviously we're here talking about the sales team side of things, meaning you're going to have a pipeline, and the pipeline should have stages of what the lead goes through before it gets to a close, right? So these are the categories that you want to have available so that your salespeople can name each lead into the category based on the call outcome or what happened with that lead. Starting off, we want to have a call booked lead status where leads who booked a call get that status automatically through some type of automation that you can set up through Zapier or other softwares. You want to have that there just so you know if you have opt-ins, which opt-ins became call booked and which call book stayed there. For example, maybe the sales rep forgot to update it after the call, so on and so forth. So that is very important. And it's also important for tracking your KPIs, which I'm going to show you later on in this video. Now, the second status you want to have is the no-show status. And of course, every single offer, I don't care what kind of service you're selling, how good it is, you're going to have no-shows. And with today's day and age, with advertising costs just getting higher and higher, if you're paying for leads, you cannot let a no-show that's just a no-show go and not have processes set up for it. So having a CRM and using a no-show pipeline status is going to allow you to milk each lead after it's a no-show by having sequences and so on and so forth, which I'm going to show you. But these are just unresponsive leads who need aggressive copy to rebook in the emails, or they need to be dialed like crazy by your phone setter and your sales team. That is the second status. The third status is going to be live call, which is a no offer / DQ. DQ stands for disqualification, obviously. And this is going to be anybody who shows up to the call, so they're not a no-show, but they just didn't get pitched by the salesperson. And the reason why is because they probably were not qualified, right? And when you look at it from that standpoint, it's super important because you want to know how many of the closes that your closer is missing is due to the quality of the leads, right? So this is super important as well for KPIs, but that is the third status you want to have there. The fourth status we want to have is going to be offer given follow-up. Again, this is to track how many offers your closer is giving to your calls. To give you an idea, let's say you had 8 calls booked in a day, 6 of them showed up, but your closer only actually pitched 4 of them. You want to be able to track that because you want to know, what if your closer is just not pitching enough people? What if he's disqualifying people too quickly? Or what if he's pitching too many people and then he's like taking too long on calls? So these are leads that were pitched, they're interested, but they just didn't buy on the call. So they didn't close, but they're pitched and they showed up, right? So you want to be able to track this as well. Now, the fifth status is going to be the 1 yard line follow-up status. This is super important. Not enough people do this nowadays. And this is why I'm telling you, this will allow you to squeeze out a couple of deals a month, guaranteed, if you set it up properly, depending on your lead volume. And these are going to be leads that are super, super close to buying. And you want to let your sales rep gauge who to put in here. But you want to make it clear that only super close to buying leads are placed in there. So hence why it's called the 1 yard line, because these are going to be people that you give like nurturing to and a push, and you're just going to give them some type of like extra value proposition and a special video for them from the offer owner to get them over that 1 yard line. So I'm going to talk about the sequences for this in a bit, but that's an important status. 1, self-explanatory. This is going to be for any deal that closes. Any lead that becomes a customer is going to be marked as 1. This is so you can track your KPIs, and also you can track your cash collected and your revenue every month. We can set up automations for that as well. This lead is going to be for lost offers that were pitched. So that means your salesperson got on the call, other person showed up. The pitch was made to them because they were qualified, but your salesperson couldn't close them. This is also important to be able to train your salesperson properly, to be able to know why they didn't close, and also to be able to have sequences that can downsell them later on, which we'll be talking about. This status right here is going to be for people that are waiting on funds. You're going to notice a lot of people are going to have to, go put cash in the bank depending on what kind of offer you're selling, or they have to move funds from a savings to a checking, or like some people liquidate their 401ks to buy your services. So you want to wait for that. So these leads need a specific type of nurturing, and they need to be put in a pipeline where your salesperson knows these are urgent. So that's also an important status. And then last but not least is going to be this one right here. You don't have to have this, but I like to have it because I find that this is the most common area where leakage happens in a sales process. So these are going to be leads that are responsive, but just had things come up. Like, because in your head as a salesperson, and I know this from experience, you're going to have people that respond to you and you're like, damn, this person's responsive, so on and so forth. But then they don't show up because of they had to pick up their kids from school, or emergency happened, or family, or work, or whatever. And these are the leads that usually get, like, they slip through because, the salesperson is going to assume that, hey, they just weren't interested enough to hop up on a call back with me. But like, if you just have a process to get these responsive leads back on the calendar, it's going to be super valuable. And the process is literally just having a pipeline of these people so that your salesperson, when they have no shows and they have nothing to do, they go through this and they just dial all of these people and get them back on the calendar. Keep in mind, these are responsive people. So it's easier to get them back on a calendar than one of these leads, which is just completely unresponsive, right? So these are the statuses you want to have. And again, here's a drop down list of them as well. Now, when you have these statuses, now you're of course going to have a pipeline where you can see how many leads are in each pipeline. How many leads do we have that are in the no-show pipeline? How many do we have that are in the one pipeline? So on and so forth. But you want to have sequences, which are just workflows, set up based on the status. And you want them to trigger when the lead is put in a certain status in your CRM. Now, for example, let's say no-show, right? This is the most common status that your people are your salespeople are going to put their leads in because you're going to have a lot of no-shows. It's standard. Now, once that happens, you're going to want to have a sequence that rolls out a automated email that's aggressive with some type of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out for the customer, a deadline of some sort, and then a tracked rescheduling link, meaning you want to be able to track how many of your bookings came from people that no-showed, but then saw the email and booked again, right? So when I set this up for one of my current biggest clients, within like 2 or 3 days, we had somebody respond, and turns out their phone number that they entered in the application was wrong, which is, again, very rookie mistake, but like, it was wrong. So our closer was reaching out, didn't show up. Damn, he put him as a no-show. But then when he received these emails, he responded and he was like, hey, I'm ready. I want to show up. Like, I don't want to miss this opportunity, but my number was wrong. Can you set me up again? So just like that, you're going to get a couple of extra leads per month. Now, I want to go ahead and show you guys what that email would look like. So if you look right here, your subject, you want to make it super direct to the point, and you want to make it eye-catching. Don't put any emojis in your subject because it's going to look botted. And you want to say something like this: you missed your call, open this ASAP. By the way, I'm going to have all of these emails I'm going to show you guys linked in the description for free for you to go ahead and use in your business. But obviously you can't share it and duplicate it. But back to the point, you want to have the body be something like this. And the cool part about having a CRM is it's going to be able to auto populate something like this for you, like their first name. And so all you have to say is something like, yo, what's up? Hey. And then you can say offer owner here with ABC company. Obviously fill this with your details. And you can say something like, I just peeped that you missed your scheduled call, right? And this depends on the tonality of the offer owner. This offer specifically that I wrote this for is kind of very chill. The person is more like a chill, kind of like urban style type of brand. So we talk like that. I just peeped that you missed your scheduled call. Look, I know how life is and I understand that things can come up, but let's face it. Aren't you in this position because you haven't prioritized making more money? And this is specifically for a coaching program business. And you can see right here, it says, is there ever a time where life won't get in the way of you trying something new? The answer is a big fat no. And I know this from experience. There's always going to be the next family event, the next work trip, and the next excuse. But as a high demand program, we can't just let everyone join. And so we have to blacklist anyone who continuously makes excuses. Not because we want to, but because we have limited resources. And this email is your gateway to rebooking. If you genuinely want to start and scale an Amazon business, like you see me do every day on your feed, just for example purposes, and you're actually ready to show up and make a change, click here to rebook. And that link is going to be tracked, like I said, using a UTM source, which we'll be talking about later. And then it says, if not, we can part ways here so I can focus on our other applicants who are going to show up. And again, this adds a bit of FOMO of like, damn, I can't miss out on this. It adds a bit of a deadline because it tells you this email is your gateway to rebooking. You're not going to get another one. And then at the third point, which is super, super, super important, is that you want to make sure that this has some type of aggressive copy, as we said. And so this is kind of what I mean by aggressive. You reading that is going to kick, right? It's going to give you some type of accountability. So that's for the no-show email. For the 1 yard line status people, you want to make sure that you have a personalized email addressing fear and uncertainty, because if somebody's super close to buying, they have the money, they've got the resources, they've got the time, the most common reason they're not going to buy is fear and uncertainty, usually, right? So you want to be able to handle that in the email and target it and address it. And this is super cool. I actually learned this from another offer that I saw. And you could do a 1 minute video from the brand owner or the offer owner, like basically telling them, to get over that hump and give them a little bit of a push or a motivation to get over that hump that that's getting in the way. And because they look up to the brand owner or the offer owner, a lot of the times will actually convert. You'll have a high success rate with this if the leads are actually super close to closing and hence 1 yard line. So what that would look like is something like this. You'd want your subject to be, you've never been closer, right? Somebody sees that and he's like, well, what am I close to? And then they click on it and they open it. Then it says, yo, contact first name. Again, it gets auto populated based on the contact name. Offer owner here with ABC company. Just got word from my advisor, Rocco, put your closer name, that you're super close to pulling the trigger on working with us. So just like any life decision, I know you're probably a bit uncomfortable. And if we're being honest, probably a bit scared, right? Well, don't worry. It's okay to feel this way. But here's the thing. I've been exactly where you're at, and I want you to ask yourself one simple question. What would happen if you never try? Watch this quick video I recorded for you. Bam. That's a 1 minute video of the offer owner telling them that they just have to get over it. They have to stop being the P word, and they have to literally just take action because there's never a perfect time. The perfect step that people look for, which is why they don't start, is starting, right? That is the perfect step. So you make that clear in that 1 minute video. Super quick. If you're actually using this properly, the offer owner will only have to film a couple videos a week, and that should get a few deals in. Multiple thousands of dollars a week is going to be worth them filming a couple 1 minute videos, right? So then it says, now you've come this far and I want to give you the push that I needed when I was in your position. So relating with them. If you sign up using the link below with the next 24 hours, you should add here some type of value proposition that's extra. In our case, we're adding an extra one-on-one coaching call directly with the offer owner. And this is on top of the initial onboarding meeting they do together typically. And so if you're ready to bet on yourself, it says click here, which then takes them to a checkout link, which then they could pay with. So instead of having the closer have to do all of the work, and usually that's okay, again, but in certain leads, they're super close. The closer should have done all of the loops and the objection handling that he can. He should be properly trained to do so. The offer owner steps in, sends a 1 minute video. This is going to be automatic. All the closer has to do is just attach the video in there and it gets sent out. Then this is going to push people over the line properly. Next thing we have is going to be waiting on funds. Highly interested. These are going to be the same people that are right here, right? Ready, waiting on funds. This status is going to be people who you want to send an email to them with case studies and some type of setup tutorial. So let me actually show you what that would look like. It would say something like, let's get you started while you're waiting on funds. There's two types of customers you're going to have here. It's either going to be customers that paid a deposit or some type of split payment and they're waiting on funds to get started. In that case, you probably gave them access to something. Or two, you just took some type of like, hey, you took their word for it. They need to go deposit funds in the bank and you're just waiting on them to do that for a follow-up call. So instead of letting them go and just have nothing to do, you can tell them something like, hey, as a closer, you would say something like, I want you to make sure that you're making progress in the next few days that we're waiting for you to get your funds. So you're actually going to get an email from the offer owner giving you access to some of our modules for free, just because we care about you getting started so much that even if you haven't paid us, we're going to get you started. So make sure you check that out. And then it would get this email automatically once the closer marks this as the status of waiting for funds in the CRM. And it would say something like, hey, contact first name, offer owner here, just got word from closer, which is the closer, that you're wanting to move forward with us. And I'm stoked for you. I know you're getting your funds together right now, and we're here to support you every step of the way. So instead of waiting with your arms crossed, I wanted to send you over these lessons directly from the program. By the way, these bolds are very important. Make sure you have them. Our ultimate goal is to get you up and running on Amazon ASAP. And these lessons will show you how to set up your seller account and break down the softwares you need. Again, the example I'm using here is an Amazon coaching offer. And so you would link your course videos here, and then you would go ahead and you say something like, then you'll need to get some of the product on your store ASAP. So let us know as soon as you have your funds together so we can walk you through our step-by-step sourcing strategy, right? Now, again, this is extremely important because you won't have them doing nothing in that little bit of a gap time. Then they can come back to you when they have the funds, because these two videos you sent from the course or the modules or your offer should be very good. The last two statuses we're going to talk about here is going to be one. This is just going to be very straightforward. Anybody who signs up and just pays for the program or your offer or your service, you want to have them get some type of automated welcome or onboarding links, and you want to have them include access. You want to have the access to the offer deliverables in there as well, and you have setup instructions in there too. So, for example, if you look right here, It would say something like, welcome to ABC Company. What's up? Contact first name. Very straightforward. Congrats on becoming a part of the team. We're excited to have you and look forward to guiding you through making your first sale, for example. Make sure you access the following. Here's the course. And then you have to say something like, this is how you should frame this depending on what your service is and what you feel like people don't do, right? Like if you feel like, for us, for example, for this offer, people just don't watch the videos. We need them to so that they can get better results. We make it very clear, and then we link the course. Then the Discord, same thing. The one-on-one meeting, same thing. And then you would just sign up on the email. The last status that you want to have here is going to be the lost offer given status. So again, this is anybody who was pitched but didn't buy. And usually these are people that just didn't like the price, and that's why they're getting, put in that status. So you want to have a downsell email that offers your second lower ticket, cheaper service with a guarantee and then some type of upsell promotion that can upgrade them later on. So you'll notice if you just get a few of these a month and then just one extra person upgrades per month on a yearly basis, this is almost, obviously, this could touch even, multiple 5 figures. So the way the email would look is something like this. It would say, here's a much cheaper option to start selling on Amazon, for this example, as the subject. The body would be like, yo, contact first name, offer owner here with ABC Company. I know the mentorship didn't quite work out for you, and that's totally cool. But here's the thing. I still don't want you to miss out on a massive opportunity to flip brands and start building that Amazon empire. So here's the deal. We've got something called ABC Training, enter yours, and it's just $249. No big risk, but still packed with the value you need to get moving without breaking the bank. Here's what's inside. You list all of the things they get. Obviously, you can include some emojis here to make it look a little bit more proactive. And then you would say something like this. Plus, if you decide later that you want to take the lead back into the mentorship, we'll credit you $200 towards it. So this isn't just a training, it's a stepping stone. So realistically, if they upgrade, they're just risking $50. That's it. That's all they're going negative on. Other than that, the $200 gets credited back. And here's something even better. If you watch 90% of the course, attend 2 live calls, you get a full refund on day 90. You should have some type of guarantee like this and actually fulfill it. And that way it'll force you to deliver good results to your students. So this is a stipulation. Of course, you would add something like this in here that would say, and you don't make X amount, or you don't get your ROI back, and so on and so forth. And then you would have something like, if you're ready to take the first step with way less pressure and all the tools you need, hit the button below to grab the ABC training. And then you would link this to your WAP checkout page or your ClickFunnels landing page or wherever you're selling your low ticket. So these are the types of emails you want to have as sequences. And most of these are going to be automatic, I'd say, except this one, just because the closer has to input that 1-minute video from the offer owner. Everything else should be going out instantly with workflows, with automations. Setting that up is a whole different video that I can make. But if you guys are interested in getting all of this set up for you, done for you, for your company, just go ahead and comment below or shoot me a message and we'll talk about that. Now, if you look right here at efficient use of tasks, this is another function of CRMs that's super overlooked, but it's a simple task making function. A lot of people I see start using third-party softwares like Asana or other types of tools for project management. You need to use one tool. Usually for your closer, the less you have them do, and the less apps they have to switch between is the better. So that's why you want to have everything be done through the CRM. In this case, you want to have a task created depending on what the outcome of the call is. Let's say it was a no-show that needs to get reset. Like we were talking about these leads right here that are no-show responsive, need to be back on calendar. When the salesperson knows that that's the case, you want to have them go here, create a task, as you can see right here, and you want to describe the task, reschedule, follow up, so on and so forth. You could put the date that this is supposed to be by, the time, save it, and then Close will actually ping you as soon as you log in to do these things on that day. And so when you do something like that for no-shows, you'll obviously remember to get people back on the calendar. When you do it for follow-ups, you'll remember to follow up with the 1-yard line and the waiting on fund statuses. And then when you do it for confirmation tasks, it's kind of like when you're calling leads, right, to confirm the appointment. Sometimes people say, hey, I'm cool, like over the text, but they don't actually confirm over the phone, which I always like to have my salespeople confirm over the phone, get on the conversation with the client and just build some rapport, get an idea of where they're at, so on and so forth. So you want to have that there too. And the last thing is just, you can automate this. Like you can make it so as soon as, let's say a person is marked as no-show responsive, need back on calendar, you can instantly automate this to create a task in the CRM automatically that can be get this person back on the calendar the next day with a deadline at a certain time. So this can all be automated through some type of automation software. This is super important. And you want to make sure you're clearing your tasks very, very often. The next thing I want to talk about is going to be automating your lead source tracking. So because you have a CRM, you want to have all of the information about that lead stored there. Again, you don't want to use multiple software. So I know you probably use Calendly for your call bookings. You want to set up some type of UTM tracking links through Calendly. This is super easy. All you would literally have to do is at the end of your link, you enter like UTM source underscore, or something like UTM source underscore YouTube or IG funnel or wherever your lead is coming from. There's a specific structure for this that I can make a call video on later. But all you would have to do is track where that source is coming from using the link. Then you would take the Instagram link, paste it in your Instagram bio. So anybody who books a call, you're going to know they booked a call through Instagram because of that UTM source that you have there. Now, if you set up the proper automations, you can pull all of that info from Calendly into the closed profile and have it show up just like this, as you can see on my screen. This lead specifically that we closed for $2,500 came from Instagram, and it closed for $2,500. Now, if you track this properly in the close CRM, and you have, let's say, some type of Google Sheet where you track all your payments, like how much your closer is collecting or what the company's cash flow is for the month, you can automate when a status is won, you can pull the data and post it now on Google Sheets. So I actually provided you an example from literally one of the clients I have right now that in October, we're already at like, I think almost something around like $8,000 in cash collected. And we're about a couple of days in. You can see right here on the left side, the lead source is always tracked when the lead is won. So far we've gotten 3 leads from the Instagram funnel, and we had 2 leads from a setter, which his name is Dev. And what this allows you to do is at the end of the month, you know exactly how much each salesperson collected, you know how much you should pay them, and you know what you should focus on. Like if I get to the end of the month and I'm like, hey, or let's say the end of the week, and I'm like, hey, this month we had barely any closes from sets. We need to work on our setting. Or we had barely any closes from Instagram. What if our link is broken? Super important. You need to be tracking where every single deal comes from. Okay. So that is going to be the 4th outline. The 5th step here is going to be automating your KPI tracking. And this is honestly the last part that you want to use your CRM for. There's many other ways to use it, but this is going to be how you track the performance of your sales team. This is super important regardless if you run ads or not. But if you are running ads, you're often going to have to question whether the lack of sales is due to marketing or due to sales. And the only way to actually know is to have accurate data regarding your sales team's performance. If your sales team is closing at a high rate, but your marketing, your return on ad spend is not good, then you probably have to worry about marketing. But if it's the other way around, then you have to work on your sales. And it's an endless cycle. So the only way to do this, because I know this from experience as a salesperson, when I would get a bad month, I would blame it on the marketing. Hey, the leads suck. But like realistically, there's no way to actually know this until it's quantified. And you can completely outsource this to the CRM to where when something is marked as one of these statuses here, a bunch of data is getting pulled through 7-8 path automation here, as you can see, which took a while for us to set up, but we can actually license that system over to you for your company. So make sure you comment, or you can book a call on the link below to be able to get this set up. But essentially what this does is whenever a status is switched from a certain status to another status, you're tracking it, and then you're getting a dashboard with some formulas in your Google Sheets to be able to have your show up rates populated, your live call close rates, and your offer close rates. And just to define these for you guys, your show rate is going to be the percent of live calls. How many of the calls that were booked actually showed up to the call? How many of the calls that showed up actually got closed? That's the second rate. And the third is the offer close rate. How many of the calls that showed up, were there on the call and got pitched, actually closed after the offer? Because you want to know, again, how often is your closer pitching? How many of the people he's pitching is he closing? If your offer close rate is something like 10%, 20%, even like 30%, that's pretty low. And you want to be able to increase that through training your salesperson further and analyzing what the problem may be. But you can't do that if you're not tracking it. So setting an automation like this that tracks when an opportunity changes, sends it over to a Google Sheet as a raw data sheet, and then maps it to a dashboard like this one right here is going to be super important. These are some KPIs I just grabbed from a random month, but you can see the show rate for this month was at 52%, which is not absolutely horrendous because we're all organic. So we have no ads. So it's pretty much all profit. And then the live close rate and the offer close rate. Now, this was before we had all of these email sequences implemented, which is why it's so cool, because now I'll be able to go next month and compare these KPIs and see if they actually help for this specific client, because there is a 0 chance of you having and doing these little things and not seeing an improvement. Because if all of these just get you 1 extra deal per week on a monthly basis, depending on the ticket price of your service, That could be tens of thousands of dollars, right, throughout the year, which is why I wish I had known this sooner. And so scaling your business just comes down to an insane amount of little things that just add and stack on top of each other. And these are the little things that companies usually don't do. So companies that are doing 100, 200, $300,000 a month that don't have this can add an extra 20, 30% a month just organically from scraping the leakage that they have throughout their sales process. So if you guys found value in this video and you want to have our company come in and have our team set up this entire workflow and these entire processes for you, just go ahead and book a call below. You can also drop any type of question in the comments. I'll go in there individually answering every single one. And if you would like to see more content like this, just make sure you subscribe. I'll be uploading regularly on here, very valuable content for businesses from my experience. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.